1 second. Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo. Once again, He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. Shri Krishna Janmastami Mahamahotsav ki jai. So it's a challenge to say something after all the shower of gifts that so many of you have shared in the last few hours. Little louder. Okay. But yeah, I'll try to share some words, hopefully trying to honor what has been already shared, trying to somehow connect with some of the points you have been brought, each of you, trying to somehow continue with the morning sharing we had today. And at the same time, not trying to be so long. So I don't know if I will be able to do all those things at the same time. But anyhow, today in the morning we were speaking about Bhagavad Gita, specifically the verse that Kanupriya mystically found in the opening of the chapter, 6 verse 4th chapter, where Krishna is basically saying, I'm coming out of Bhakti and for the sake of Bhakti. No? The other day in our first lecture we say Bhaktya Sanjataya Bhaktya. Bhakti comes from Bhakti and goes to Bhakti. So we have the similar version here. Krishna is saying, I'm coming out of Bhakti and coming for more Bhakti. Atma Mayaya, by my own internal energy. And also we can interpret, I'm coming to give my mercy to my devotees. And I'm coming to beg for the mercy of my devotees. Welcome to MC Music World. Welcome. We needed the official welcome to start the kata with all blessings now. Can you hear me? Oh, no. Very natural, very organic, right? I mean, if you hear me like this, I'll speak loud. I'll keep loud. I keep loud. How we turn it off because it will do some echo. Especially. No, it's fine. So, so from there we went to Bhagavad Gita 4:9, where Krishna is saying, Janma karma chame divyam bamjo veti tattvataha tyaktva adham punar janmanaiti mameti sarjana. So one who knows the divine, the divya nature of my janma and my karma, tattvataha, in truth, actually, they obtain everything. So today we are trying to grasp that, to understand the background, the nature, and the implications and the consequences of Krishna Janmastami. Consequence of Krishna's being born, the consequences for Krishna himself. And we will be part of those consequences. We are here because of that, hopefully, as we can see in a few minutes. No, I mean, because without Janmastami, we will be here, basically. So this is all part to understand tattvataha. What does it mean that Krishna is being born in a certain particular way? No? Janma karma chame divyam. So Krishna uses the word divya, which in Sanskrit means divine, which is a word for God, right? The divine, divinity. But everyone knows, even those scholars from other traditions, I've read many books, Christian mysticism and other traditions, they all say the word for divine comes from the Sanskrit. So they acknowledge that. Deva. Deva is a word we can roughly translate as God. But the root word for Deva is Div in Sanskrit. Div. Which means a few things, but where we want to go now is play. To play. No? So interestingly, the meaning of the word God is tied to the idea of playing. Oops, right? Many times our ideas of God was like a boring man at the office, basically. Right? The cosmic administrator doing his office work, moving the strings and everything in a very bureaucratic way. But the very word God, Deva, means he who plays. No? Arjuna calls Krishna in the Gita Deva Deva, which means he who really plays. He who plays and plays and plays. He who has nothing else to do but to play. Another word for that is lila. No? Lila means play. And play means no purpose, nothing to attain. I'm just absorbed, engrossed, lost, and found in the play itself. I'm celebrating life, existence, lila. So he who only plays, that's a God that makes sense for us, a playful God. So in this verse of the Gita, janma karma chame divyam, Krishna says, janma, birth, karma, actions which resemble ordinary actions, like Krishna Chandra said today, which resemble our karma. Divyam, this is tied to the idea of play. So in other words, we will say janma karma. He puts this word one after another. So his janma, divya janma, his divine birth, is with the purpose of divya karma, of engaging in divine play. No, Krishna is not just born to be born. And okay, I'm born, game over, I'm going back to Golok, see you soon or something. No? So in one sense, his birth is with the purpose of playing. No? Of course, the birth itself is lila, janma lila. But that's a warm-up lila. So much is coming after that. And the word lila is ascribed to Krishna more than any other form of the divine. Generally, we don't hear so much the word Narayan lila, Vishnu lila, Krishna lila. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Because he doesn't do anything else but lila. No? He's lila Purushottama, right? Today, Krishna Chandra was talking about Ramachandra as yesterday. Anyhow, someday we are in eternity at this point. Maryada Purushottama. Huh? Personality of God kept behaving in a very straight way. But Krishna's Lila Purushottama. When the Supreme Person chooses to play. So the notion of Lila is mostly ascribed to Krishna, more specifically to Krishna in Vrindavan. Krishna's Lila in Vrindavan is considered the ultimate expression of play. Now, Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, that's a Lila, Mathura Lila, Dwarka Lila. But he still has some official functions to perform there. Yeah, it's fine. There are some official functions we need to perform. So the lila can go on more smoothly. It's fine. There is one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami say, Krishna Raya Theka Kela Sarvotama Nara Lila Tada Bapu Janhara Sarup Gopavesh Venukar Nava Kishore Natavar Narar Lila Hai Anurup. There's so much in that verse. But basically he's saying, Krishna Raya Theka Kela, from all the different plays that Krishna engages in, Sarvotama Nara Lila. His highest play is that which is human play, which looks very ordinary, we will say. So Mark will use the word aprakrita. Prakrita means it looks prakrita, it looks mundane, but it's supra-transcendental, aprakrita. No? If you go to Vaikuntha, things look pretty transcendental. No? Extraordinary. Right? People had an extra pair of arms. That's a little strange, right? Some of them are flying in the sky, some weird things going on there. So that's overtly transcendental. You are there and it's like, oh, you go to Vrindavan, and if your vision is not properly educated, that doesn't look transcendental. It looks, oh, I'm in an uncivilized tribe of village people. Looks pretty ordinary. No? Now, if you pay close attention, you realize, oh, even Narayan in Vaikuntha is marveling at what's going on in this village. But we need to educate our eye to appreciate what Vrindavan is about, what Vraja Lila is about. So we will say, as we're talking today, Krishna is mostly coming for his devotees, Paritranaya Sadhunam. And more specifically, we'll say he's coming for his Brajabhas to engage in play with them, to play with his playmates. Because when you play, you want also to play with someone that keep up with your play. It's like if you're a very good, I don't know, tennis player, if you need to play with someone who is as good as you are. If you bring a total beginner, it's boring. You win always, right? There's no like. So Krishna likes to play. He's Deva. He has nothing but play. But when he plays really hard, really intense. He really becomes absorbed in the play, to the point that he loses sight of his godhood. I mean, that's a lot. Because if you are God, that's a heavy abhiman, heavy sense of identity. I am God. Everyone is constantly reminding you of that, because everyone is calling you, praying to you, God, 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 God. So if something makes you forget about that, that something must be very powerful. Even more powerful than Krishna's godhood. So as I like to say, Krishna is not an aspect of God. God is an aspect of Krishna. Okay? Krishna is God beyond God. God is a designation in one's. In Vrindavan, God is an upadhi. Or God is not Krishna. God is Narayan in Vrindavan, of course. And everyone prays to God for the sake of Krishna. Right? Everyone worships God in Vrindavan. But every time Nanda Maharaj is doing puja to Narayan at home, his mind is always with Krishna. Like we may be doing worship of Krishna, and our mind is who knows where. Similar but very different. Now, Nanda Maharaj's mind, he's worshiping Narayan, but he's just thinking, where is my Lala? What must he be doing? Maybe he's hungry, he's playing. While externally he's weaving incense and all that stuff. He starts to weave 27 rounds of incense, more than the prescribed number, because his mind went somewhere else. Right? So this is what we discover in Vrindavan. Not only that there are Brajavasis, these eternal playmates, companions of Krishna, who love him for who he is and not because he's God. No? But also we discover that Krishna himself is a Brajavasi. God is a Brajavasi. That's his Abhiman. No? I'm one of yours, he's telling to the Brajavasi in the Bhagavatam. I'm one of yours. I'm one of your clan, of your tribe. There's no difference between us. No? Pranaya. The two of us are, we were talking with Krishna Chanda the other day about the term pranaya. The type of love where you don't feel difference between you and your beloved. Right? Let me give you an example. It may be a little bit shocking, but it's graphic enough. It's like if you're in the bathroom doing your stuff in the bathroom, and you are by yourself. So you are not like, oh, I'm passing stool in the bathroom. But someone opens the door of the bathroom. You could probably become self-aware. Oh, there's me and you. So that's not pranaya. Right? Pranaya will be, you open the door, but the two of us are so much one that I don't feel a difference. You follow my point? We are not in personal merging, but love communion, that's the same. So Krishna is a Brajavasi. That's the whole point of Janmastami, we will say. He's born in Vrindavan, as we're saying today. He seems to be born in Mathura. That's the mainstream version. Now the Parokshaba, the indirect confidential version that our Goswamis and other acharyas reveal is he's born in Braj. No, that's how the Brajavasi see him. No, again, Gopi Gita starts like that. Jayati te dikam janmana braja. Stop there. Those two words, right? Janmana braja. The gopis are saying to Krishna, your janma is in braja. No? You are a brajavasi. And many other verses in the Bhagavatam that confirm Krishna is a brajavasi. So this is another layer of janma karma chame divyam me banju veti tattvataha. Krishna saying, those who know in truth the playful nature of my birth, one layer of that is he's a Brajavasi. Not only he's the unborn who comes to establish Dharma and protect his devotee, all that. Another layer, he's a Brajavasi. No, he really is. It's not that he's delusional. He is Brajavasi. That's his ultimate abhiman, sense of identity. And as Chaitanya Charitamrita say, the only dharma that Krishna has in relation to his devotees is to fulfill the desires of his beloveds. No? Krishna Das Kaviraj say Krishna has no other duty apart from fulfilling every wish of his devotees. Sometimes we ask which is my dharma, what to do, what not to do. Krishna has very clear which is his dharma. I'm here to serve my devotees. I remember talking with Patrak in Austria a few weeks ago. He was reading, I think it was Encounters with Divinity from Srila Siddhar Maharaj, or Follow the Angels. Follow the Angels. There's one section, I remember, I think, say, let's open casually. And I open, and Srila Siddhar Maharaj was talking about slavery and becoming slaves of Krishna. And slave is a heavy word, right? It has some negative connotations in human history. We don't want slavery. But he was so hardly pushing on divine slavery. But then he qualifies his statement by saying, Krishna likes slavery so much that he becomes a slave of his slaves. So everyone is enslaved by love at the end of the day. And that's the power of love. So again, Bhagavan, Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna, divine God, Aishwarya for a moment, to balance the equation, become so absorbed in play. His own identity is, I'm a Brajavasi, I'm part of the village, have nothing to do but to engage in loving interaction with my devotees. So he, janma, karma, chame divya, his janma, his birth is for the purpose of karma or lila, divya, of engaging. But now when he engages in loving interaction with his devotees, that has some consequences. Again, there's something costless, but it's not priceless. So Krishna in Vrindavan as a Brajavasi fully absorbed himself in lila, in divine loving interaction with the Brajavasis. So the consequence of that bring forth further reasons for Krishna's birth, that even Krishna didn't know when he took birth. He comes with certain purpose, but then in the context of being born and engaging in Leela, he starts to discover other purposes for his janma Leela, for today's Janmastami. So all this is related to the word tattvataha in the Bhagavad Gita, knowing my birth in truth, for my actual, he himself is discovering that. So to wrap up, I don't want to extend myself too much, but to wrap up, I'd like to go to, in this connection, to a verse from the Bhagavatam. I remember we studied together this verse of the Bhagavatam the first time I had the fortune of coming to Anandadam. No, not yet that one. Let's go. We will go there. But Brahma Stuti, remember we studied Brahma Stuti, praise of Brahma? So one of the high points, Brahma is saying what? Isham Gosham Nibachinam, etc.
We don't know that.
No problem. We will translate it. So Brahma is praying at the very end of the stuti of his prayers to Krishna. He has witnessed the degree of affection and the loving interaction he and his, in this case, his friends has mostly, his sakas, his gopas. Now you say, Aho bhagyam nanda gopa brajoka sham janmitram paramanandam purnam brahma sanatanam. No, etc. there, the whole verse. So Brahma is saying, Aho, oh. Bhagyam means fortune. How fortunate are these Brajavasis? Why? Because Jan Mitram Paramanandam Purna Brahma Sanatanam. This person who is the absolute truth has become Mitram, the friend of them. So this Krishna is known. Brahma has this Aishwarya. Krishna is God. He has that type of mentality, but he's seeing now the Brajavasis and realizing they are treating him like one of them, one of the tribe. Because remember, at the beginning of creation, Brahma had darshan of Krishna. Krishna instructed him in a very sober, Upanishadic way. They shook hands. And Brahma said, I like this shaking of hands. And the commentators say, at that moment, Brahma wanted to taste Sakya Rasa with Krishna. So somehow that proud came in his heart. Oh, being a friend of, but he had no idea what it means to be a friend of Krishna, full-fledged. For that, he needed to go to Vrindavan, and that's when he witnessed Krishna in picnic with his friends, full informality, each one eating from each other's hands, left hand, not right hand, giving each other their own leftovers, breaking all rules and regulations. And Brahma is the very personification of rules and regulations. Scripture says, if you perform Varnashram Dharma perfectly, following all the rules without failure, which none of us can do for 10 seconds, it's very complicated. And here it says 100 lifetimes. If you do that, you are born as Brahma. That means Brahma is very paka in following all the etiquette and the mudras and now he goes to Vrindavan and he sees Krishna and his friends breaking, destroying all rules and regulations. No? Yeah. Oh my God. Brahma thought. No? So I won't go into the details of what happened after. It's known as Brahma Vimohan Lila, which means the bewilderment of Brahma. No? his forehead starts to spin like crazy. And he thinks, this is ordinary, this is an imposter, I will kidnap the boys, and blah, 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 blah. And Krishna shows full Aishwarya, but in the context of that, he gave him the sweetness of his Madhurya, and then Brahma starts to pray, repenting, begging forgiveness, and realizing not only, wow, who is Krishna, but who are these people? And he starts to connect the 2 points. I'm getting to know Krishna through his associates. Now they are shedding light on who he is, he's shedding light on who they are. This is they are very connected with one another. I want to be a friend of Krishna. Now I'm starting to grasp what it means. So in that prayer, in those prayers, at one point, he says this prayer, etc. He says, basically, Brahma is astonished. I mean, he was already bewildered. Now he's more bewildered by witnessing the love of the Brajavasis. So he says, I'm wondering, and I have no clue, but I'm wondering how you plan, he's asking Krishna, how do you plan to reciprocate the Brajavasis? Because their lives, their families, their sons, their minds, their hearts, their everything is given to you fully in service. Putana came to you trying to kill you, and you gave yourself to her. She attained the position of a mother. So if you showed such grace to Putana, who appeared like disguised as a devotee trying to kill you, is the worst possible thing you can imagine, and you gave her Vatsalya Ras. So how you will repay the Vrajavasis? If you follow the bewilderment of Brahma, his foreheads now are spinning faster than ever. And what can you possibly do to honor their love? If you so generously gave yourself to Putin in that way, what can you give to them? So Krishna does not reply. Now Krishna is bewildered. Right? He received that question from Brahma and said, that's a good question. So he starts to ruminate on that. This chapter 14 of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. We go from chapter 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32. Almost 20 chapters after. And we are getting now to a verse that comes 2 verses after the verse that Siva Manjari shared with us. At the height of the Rasa Lila. After Krishna disappeared from the Rasa Mandal, reappears, gopis question him what kind of lover you are, why you disappeared. He replied what Siva Manjari shared. And then finally he has something to say about Brahma's question 20 chapters before in the Bhagavatam. Right? Right? How to repay back to his devotees. Remember, all this in the context of Janmastami we are talking today, right? He was born with the purpose of engaging in play with the Vrajavasis. He became so absorbed in that, loving reciprocation. And there is a point where Brahma is asking, in that context of loving reciprocation, how do you plan to repay back to that? And now comes the verse that you quoted a minute ago. Napadayeham nirabadya sanjuyam swasadu kritam vibudhayu sapiva janbajutam durjarageha shrinkala sambrishya tadbha tatiyatu sadhana. So basically, Krishna's answer is, I cannot repay back. I cannot. I not only I cannot repay back, I don't even know how much is the debt. Because imagine, okay, I have a debt of 30 million euro, and you probably say, I cannot repay, but you know the number. Krishna, he's saying, I don't even know the number. No. I'm so overwhelmed by the love receiving from my devotees that I cannot pay. I'm an eternal debtor. No? And he tells to the gopis, may your love be your own reward. Love is its own reward. There's no higher reward than the love you already have for me. Now, in that context, and all this is part of the implications of Janma Lila, Krishna's birth. You say, I cannot pay back, but also I'm not an ungrateful person. You say that before, a few verses before in the Bhagavatam. There are different people. One is ungrateful. He is not one of those. I cannot pay back, but I cannot just cross my arms and say, just I cannot pay back, so good luck with your lovers. And no, he feels, I'll try my best to honor that love. I'll try my best to sing the glories of that love. I'll try my best to recruit new lovers to honor that love. And I'll try my best to understand that love. So Sanatana Goswami comments on this verse from the Bhagavatam and says, this is the genesis of Gaur Lila. In the zenith of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Gaur Lila explodes. In this, and we have another Janma Lila here. Of course, Gaur Lila is an eternal reality, but somehow is describing connection to the highest point of the Krishna Lila, Rasa Lila. Gaur Lila manifests the natural blossoming and necessity to fulfill what Krishna cannot fulfill in Vrindavan, in the Krishna Lila. Because at this point, Krishna thinking, what's in the heart of Sri Radha? What's the glory of her love? What's the beauty she perceives in me? What's the happiness she derives in seeing my beauty? I don't know. I'm known as the omniscient God. I have no clue about what's going on in her heart. So I want to know all that. I want to honor the greatness, the Mahima, the Mahatmya of their love. I want to spread that everywhere. So all this has to do with the consequences of Krishna's birth. So this is part of the Tattvataha of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, that who knows my birth, the reasons for my birth in truth, comes to me. So then we have the Parishista Lila, Gaur Lila. Parishista in Sanskrit means appendix. Not the appendix in your body, but like the appendix of a book. Like you finish the book, but there's an afterthought, something else that I need to put to complete the whole story. So in one sense, Krishna Lila is complete, but at the same time, there are some things that happen in Krishna Lila that they require some further resolution. And Gaur Lila is that which fulfills Krishna Lila. It's an extension of Krishna Lila. It's not different from Krishna Lila, appearing in a certain way to fulfill its deepest purpose. Of course, now I'm being tempted to just go and start to talk about Gaur Gadadhar for 3 weeks, basically. But we cannot go there, that's too much. Some other day. So my point of this is that so Gaur Lila manifests, Sriman Mahaprabhu. Main purpose is exploring Radha's heart. As the byproduct of that, spreading his volcanic, overflowing, thunder-like heart, overflowing, roaring, Sachinandan Gaur Hari. Hari also means lion. So he roars. These days we are sharing with a group of friends the Astakaliya Lila of Sri Chaitanya Nitya Navadvip. We are with the first Nishanta Lila, Prata Lila. Mahaprabhu is sleeping, awakening. There's so much roaring in between his Leelas. Golden lion. He's so again, Krishna's birth, in other words, necessarily implied the birth of Gaur Lila. Krishna is born, the Lila unfolds, and at one point, there's a necessity called Gaur Lila, for Krishna Lila to be successful. And then Sriman Mahaprabhu comes, and again, his thunderbolt-like volcanic heart roaring spread throughout the world in form of Prem Sankirtan. Chaitanyera Shristiye Prema Sankirtan. Once Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was asking, was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? Or was Prataparudra Maharaj? I think Prataparudra Maharaj, she was on the terrace of his palace. He was looking with some, how do you call this? Binoculars. And he's seeing Mahaprabhu and his associates doing Prem Sankirtan, dancing and rolling on the ground and crying and expressing all as the sattvika vikars, ecstatic symptoms. And the king of Puri says, what's that? I'm in Puri. Puri is a very multi-religious city. I'm accustomed of witnessing different forms of religious expression, but I never seen something like that. What's that? And Gopinathacharya, I think he's the one who replaced Chaitanya Shrishti Prem Sankirtan. That's the creation of Sri Chaitanya. And that's called Prem Sankirtan. Golokir Premadan Harinam Sankirtan. So the charity, the gift of the love of Golok comes in this world in the form of Sankirtan. So again, all this is a consequence of Krishna's Janma Lila, which we are celebrating today. And as a consequence of this Prem Sankirtan, here we are as a byproduct of that. No? We have been sprinkled by that ocean of nectar. We have been touched by even a few drops, and we are a victim of that grace, so to say. If we hadn't been touched by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Dev coming through Parampara, we wouldn't be here today speaking about Janmastami. So the fact that we are here and we are who we are and we have this beautiful prospect and potential in life, it's all a consequence of Krishna's birth. Today we are celebrating Krishna Janmastami. Can you see the whole sequence? So in one sense, it has to encompass us. So we make it related to us also. It's not just, okay, nice story, someone is having a birthday, but we are so much implicated in what we are celebrating today. So that's the ultimate meaning, I will say, of this verse of Bhagavad Gita 4:9. When Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evanjubeti tattvataha. Those who really know the actual nature of my birth and activities come to me. No? And now we can make full circle and say, yes, we are here, we are trying, we are going to him, we are on our way home. But it all begins with Krishna Janmastami. We could make it from that place, right? And that's why today in the morning we say, if you celebrate Krishna Janmastami, one of the 64 angas of Bhakti, properly, you can attain all perfection. As Krishna Chandra Baru said, and today, after you say that, I read the whole list of 64, and basically Janmastami is the only one thing that apparently you only can do one day a year. So it doesn't make sense. Only once a year. No? So how we can celebrate Janmastami every single day, we will have to explain now. How can we relate to this celebration, seeing ourselves as part of that, as a consequence of what all that unfolded from Krishna's birth, Leelas on earth, Brajavasi, absorption in play, eternal depth of love with his devotees, appearing as Mahaprabhu, trying to repay, exploding in Sankirtan, and we've been now receiving the rain that is coming now to represent the pouring of divine costless grace, of the golden volcano of divine love.
Yeah.
So if you were wondering how celebrating Krishna Janmastami can bestow all perfection, I hope today we made it clear on some level. So yeah, so we'll conclude in this way today. I'll conclude my sharing today. As we say, in the same way that Krishna was born today, praying Bhaktya Sanjataya Bhaktya. Bhakti comes from Bhakti, and for more Bhakti, Krishna comes for Bhakti, from Bhakti, out of Bhakti, and for more Bhakti. Let's pray so our hearts can become a Kripa Patra, a vessel to hold all the mercy. Strong vessel, because the mercy is very powerful, the descent is very powerful. So he can be fully born in our temple-like hearts. He is already born, but he continues to be born. Again, it's an ongoing celebration. It's ever evolving. So a few reflections trying to continue with today's celebration in the morning, connecting with some of the points you shared, and including each one of you in the implications and the consequences of Krishna Janmastami. It's not just Krishna, his birth, but our birth as souls in potential of Bhakti in the context of his birth as well. Krishna Janmastami ki Shri Radha Govinda Ji ki jai, Shri Gaur Gadadhar ki jai, Bhaktimanand Hari Hari Bol.
Oh.